Bitcoin, altcoin, crypto pump season is here. We have the data to show what is coming next. We're seeing Bitcoin breaking out of a zone. We're seeing Ethereum breaking out. We're seeing coins across the board starting to show signs of life and the start of breakouts on all those patterns we've been talking about over this last week. Let's get into it. Everybody get active in the live chat. I want to see who's here, who's alive. Let's make sure that we can ride this together because we got some incredible setups here. Let's make sure we dominate. While we do that, let's go ahead and get this retweeted out on Twitter, on X, and hit that like button. Let me know, are you bullish or bearish on where this price action is going in February? What price do you think Bitcoin, what price do you think Ethereum are going to be at the end of February? Type it in the live chat. Let's.
The science, Bitcoin, pumping, altcoins, pumping. I've been prepared for this. Can't tell me nothing.
And I believe crypto will play that type of role as a flight to quality. We are hearing from clients around the world.
Bitcoin, pumping, altcoins, pumping. I've been prepared for this.
And I believe crypto will play that type of role as
Bitcoin, pumping, altcoin, pumping.
we are hearing from clients around the world.
Can't nobody tell me nothing.
Crypto, depending on how you think about it. And I believe crypto will play that type of role as a
Can't
flight
nobody
to
tell me
quality.
nothing. Bitcoin, pumping.
We are hearing from clients around the world.
Prepared for this.
I know I'm ready. Are you guys ready? Everybody, let's get active in the chat. Let me see what your price predictions are for Bitcoin and Ethereum by the end of February. Let's get some activity going here. We're going to be getting going here in just a moment. I'm just getting these things retweeted. Let's make sure that we are prepared because all these signals that we've been lining up, even in that scary little downturn we had, and it was such a baby downturn. We talked about the bullish setups that were there, and we're seeing them starting to play out right now. Is this the moment? Everybody, let's get into it. Let's look at these charts. Streaming from home today, baby. So let's go. It's happening. Bitcoin, Ethereum, the market, altcoins, massive altcoin signal. I'm sure some of you guys have seen the chart, but we're seeing some other data as well that I'm sure you haven't seen anywhere else. When we dive into what we're looking at, this is what we see. Remember, this is that point right here where, oh my God, it's over. But now we form this descent. We have almost this parallel, basically descending channel here, breaking out into another descending channel here. We broke out of that. And what are we doing? We actually came down here, found support. Earlier, we had a nice little run up from about 104 to up to right at 106. Having a little bit of hesitation at the moment. So it doesn't mean all systems are go. But again, all these things are setting up. Creative Owls, I'm tapping in. GM Kelly, how you doing, Creative Owls? Chris Harvey, how you doing? Green Day Profits, Falco, Alexandra G. Sack Nasty, Green Day. Who else we got in here? We got so many people in here. All the OGs coming in here. My boy Crypto Danks, Museum of Crypto. Tater, how you doing? But looking at this, what's most exciting about this isn't Bitcoin. It's looking at Ethereum. Realizing that Ethereum is also breaking out of this falling wedge, you know, lining up. If we pull this out on the macro, massive inverse head and shoulders here, which remember the target on this is all the way up here in the mid $7,000 range. And this measurement would essentially be the measurement from the neckline down to essentially the deepest part of the head, kind of project this out from that neckline. And you see this comes all the way up. I mean, it's a little high, but yeah, it's in this mid $7,000 to $8,000 region. Does that mean we're going straight there? No, we might not even hit it. Hell, we might even go way beyond it into the $16,000 to $18,000 range. There's no telling what we can do in this market, which is why we look at it every day to make sure that we are not getting caught in traps in this market. But the bullish setup is here. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Coming back over to coin market cap, let's go ahead and watch this. We're up at $3.6 trillion, over $2 trillion on Bitcoin, over 400 billion finally again on Ethereum, 177 billion on Ethereum, XRP, Solana, 116 billion, BNB under 100 billion still. And look at this. We got a pretty big drop off from these all the way down here to the next one. Dogecoin at 49, just under 50 billion, 34 billion for Cardano. We've got some things to talk about today, everybody. Hope you guys are feeling good. It's Friday. I know we have a lot of options expiring today, the weekly and the monthly. But what does this mean for what's going on in the market? I think that all the expectation that was layered into what was going on with the inauguration on Monday last week, I think deflated people because they're expecting the world in the moment something happens. The foundation has only gotten more bullish. So in this case, the more bullish the data is suggesting, the fact that price is going a bit sideways and the fact that we have seen a little bit of some, declines in price action, this is absolutely what we want to see. We saw it on Solana as well, that big run up after the Trump coin launch, boom. But look, is this bad that it pulled back? It pulled back into a bullish structure. In fact, this bullish structure broke out bullishly out of this structure, boom. Now, currently, this came back down, retested it. We're kind of sitting in this range. Again, as bullish as this is, that we have pushed up, we have a bit of the basically large bull flag here, or you can just call this a standalone falling wedge. These tend to break bullish, and we did, but it doesn't mean it's just up only from here. I mean, hell, this could even trade sideways for, through the weekend before we start to resolve to the upside. The point here is the runway that's been built is more bullish than ever. So the fact that this isn't running away yet, I know I have an invoice I'm putting in for some work that I've done in the media space. And because of that, there's a part of me that's biased that wants it to sit here, that wants it to pull back further so that I can take advantage of some lower prices. But that might not happen. Right. So as money comes in and I free up other capital for my dry powder bag, I DCA along the way. I do know I have a little bit larger check coming in about a week and a half, but it doesn't make me mad if this pulls back or comes down further. If we look at XRP, oh my God, it's not moving. Well, I mean, look at how much it moved. I mean, this is on the 2-hour chart. I mean, look at this movement all the way down here from 48 cents. This was 48 cents, November 3rd. Okay, let's see, November 6th. The day of the election, November 6th. Let's go right here after this consolidation. So November 9th, 54 cents to where we're at now, up over $3. And you're worried? Come on, man. Let's keep our heads about us. Chainlink also seeing some nice movement to the upside here. We talked about this trend line that we needed to pay attention to, and this did break through this. And of course, this was drawn very crudely. So let's do Option T. If you're on Mac, if you're on PC, I think it's Alt T. Automatically gives you a trend line. You have to type it. And then you click on the chart watch. Option T, nothing happens. Then click once, you have your thing, and then you click again. That's how you get your quick key for your trend lines. But things are looking good, guys and gals. Let's go ahead and look at what's going on. Over the last 45 days, a high volume of Bitcoin has exchanged hands in the 94 to 101K range. So this is only furthering the point that I've been making the last couple of weeks, forming a dense supply cluster near 98K. Why it matters. The longer the price consolidates within or above this range, the stronger this area will act as support in corrections and basically resistant rallies. So bottom line, this 98K, this whole range really, it's not even just this dark red area. The fact that we're creating all of these price structures here with these rejection, support, rejection. Okay, little rejection here, kind of push up in here. Okay, oh, look at this, support in this area where it tried to push up, bulls came back in, support. So this whole area is building a barrier, kind of like building like a beaver builds a dam to stop the water from flowing into a particular area. It acts as, and it's not going to be a permanent thing. If we have a strong enough sell pressure, this could cut right through. But the stronger this area is, the more chance we have of this area being the base for the next move up. We saw this back here in 2024, basically the fall of 2024, with all this structure before we started moving up to what we're seeing right now. So let's be a little bit more patient because the bullish structures are setting up. And then we see other economic news. And this is bullish as it can be. The rising stock market has unlocked a new level of euphoria, rising in a straight line as President Trump threatens 100% tariffs in 30 countries all at once. Then we come back over here and we look at the global liquidity and realize this thing that we've been waiting on, the Super Bowl fuel factor, which is liquidity in markets, is only ticking up. It bottomed here and is ticking up currently. If this continues, which seems like it's going to be the most likely persistent trend over this year, this brings more risk into markets the higher this continues to move up, especially once we break past this previous all-time high here. But this is the framework for the bullishness that we're seeing, especially with not only all the structural things like ETFs and, there's I think 50 or 80% increase in the number of ETFs that they're, getting presented to the SEC now. Dogecoin Trust, the XRP ETF from Grayscale application. Bitwise launched or got approval for their application or whatever they're doing with the Bitcoin Ethereum index. NASDAQ, I mean, guys, the bullishness and this everything is leaning to like, could we get a sell-off? Sure, but let's celebrate it if we do, because we can see right here. Let me go ahead and pause this. This is, I mean, mainstream talking about what's going on here. Let me see if this works.
I want to ask you about the ETF market while we have you here. We don't get Nelson here that often, so I want to pick your brains. This is one of the many things in your portfolio is to make sure the NASDAQ ETF business continues to do well. It seems to me there's two big trends here. One is the cryptocurrency trend. The cryptocurrency ETFs, biggest, I mean, I don't know if it's the most successful launch ever, but 150 billion in assets in 1 year is pretty darn good. You have IBIT, which is the biggest one out there, is listed on NASDAQ, right? The BlackRock ETF. Give us some riff on that, if you will. And then the other trend I see is sort of option-based ETFs in general. But talk about crypto.
Well, we're still obviously big parts of the active market, so I think there's still a lot more money in active assets, but more new money going into ETF assets. That's really clear. 2 out of every $3 is moving in that direction. So we just continue to see demand for ETFs being built by NASDAQ. It's not just NASDAQ, though. There's other big providers out there. So I just think we are continuing to see this trend of passive. But you need to have active to marry that so you don't end up being too concentrated just in active. I think we're in a unique moment in time to say,
AKA Wall Street is fully getting involved. This isn't just BlackRock and Fidelity, which are major financial institutions launching Bitcoin spot ETFs and starting to put in all these other applications for other altcoin ETFs. But you're also now seeing Wall Street. I mean, NASDAQ is the epitome of Wall Street. It's an actual stock market itself. And they are talking, about their position and how they're positioning themselves to get involved with the ETF space and crypto. This is so bullish. The questions of is this a legitimate asset class or not? Blah, blah, blah. No, this is on the radar of everybody that matters in the world of finance. And there's a real strong chance that the people that are not getting in now are going to basically be getting in at such high prices that they're either going to be mad that it's starting to pull back and they lose money on those assets because they buy high and then they sell when it starts dropping, or they get in, in several years when the volatility is compressed so much because the market caps are so much larger that they don't really stand to benefit. And right now we're seeing all the ingredients in play to get us positioned to have an absolutely incredible, 4 to 9 years of just this absolutely exponential adoption rate that comes in with whether it's big money players or us as retail riding the waves of these big money players as they move into this space. So just note that. And then you wonder, okay, but where's all the buying pressure coming from? Retail doesn't have money, but we also remember we've been harping on this. This is the map right now, but this should be, Florida should be orange as well. This is the number of states right now that are basically introduced a strategic reserve bill across the U.S. And this doesn't even account for, up to 180 days after the inauguration. Within that time window is when they're going to make the determination for the Bitcoin strategic reserve here in the U.S. All of this is putting pressure on the rest of the world to get their ducks in a row, as well as the corporations and institutions out there and big money players, because it's going to be a race to who can capture the upside volatility. Now, looking at what's going on, where are we going from here? Well, is it topping? I know we've talked about this a lot. I don't think we're anywhere near a top, and it's because of charts like this. This is Bitcoin exchange net flows to reserve flow. A negative net flow to reserve flow is a ratio, is a bullish signal. A negative net flow to reserve ratio is a bullish signal. This is negative, right? This right here, boom, this sell-off, this is the FTX collapse right here. Look at that outflow. Okay, well then what does it say? Market bottom in January 2023, right here, boom. Confirming strong buying activity in the first phase of accumulation in the bullish cycle. This year, peak buying activity occurred at $100,000 level. Despite a slight decline in buying volume, God, I got the hiccups. In buying volume at the moment, demand remains exceptionally high. This was the peak right here, and we're still at this zone right here, which still eclipses what we saw at this zone. Of course, we had a lot of consolidation here, but you see when this basically flow onto exchange, the reserve flow, boom, it starts marking where you might be getting some sell pressure. Boom, see again right here. All this is negative, kind of setting a base, and then the move up, and then you get this positive creates a little bit of a reset, boom, and then boom, push up. This whole area. This is why when you're looking at data like this, rather than just a price, you go, oh, this is a great accumulation zone. I'm going to buy every dip. Boom, 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 boom. Why? Because you're seeing a huge amount of players in the space participating this as an accumulation range rather than I'm an emotional trader and it's not going up right now, so I'm going to sell. We're not going to do that shit here at BitLab. You guys aren't going to do it. I'm not going to do it. We are here to make money in this market, so let's make some damn money. You do not buy when it's super exciting and high. You buy when it's super scary and red. And once you realize that, then you realize super red is super exciting and super high is like, hey, I'm going to take some damn profits. So once you get that through your head, and once I get that through my head, then we can navigate this space much better. And then we talk about the altcoins. The data just keeps getting stronger and stronger for the altcoin season that is on the horizon. And that is looking at the Bitcoin dominance. We had a massive sell-off with all, you could have seen, if I zoomed out on this is going up for quite some time. This was a pretty substantial lower low followed by a lower high. And then boom, look, we have a higher low. Is it going to reverse? Well, boom, as it stands right now, we've not been able to really take this zone out. So this is still, I mean, even all the way up until this 62%, this would still be a lower high from this zone right here. But this is looking like it wants to make that next move down. Now, if you measured this out, the 1.618 suggestion or target as to where the dominance could go out of here, this is a pretty big move out of this pattern. It doesn't mean this is the ultimate low target on this. This is just a reasonable target for the dominance to break down from here. This is a reasonable data point that suggests that we have some magic coming to the altcoins. And we can see it in charts like this. This is that same chart, but looking at the last much smaller time frame. This is a 4-hour chart. We see the rising wedge here and this breaking out as well, starting to indicate that we may be getting a move to the downside. And then you see the master chart right here that really signals what we're all excited about. And that is the alt season. This is the others chart. I'm sure you all have seen it, but let's talk about it. Others, everything outside of the top 10, exclude Bitcoin, exclude Ethereum, XRP, Tether, Solana, BNB, USDC, Dogecoin, Cardano, Tron, exclude all those and basically aggregate, look at an index of every other coin and weigh those values, that market cap, weigh the dominance, the market cap weighed against Bitcoin. And when you look at that, this is what you see. This is when Bitcoin is performing much better. This is when altcoins change your life. What have we seen the last 2 cycles? Boom, the establishment of this trend line. This was January 2017, push up, massive alt season. What happened within that alt season? You had a big run up. You had a massive sell-off throughout the majority of the alts that you would have held back here, meaning that you would have been so excited. And at this point, some people sold here only to miss the larger move. Same thing here, massive move, massive sell-off. And then the ultimate high was after that. We've seen at least 2 moves in all this. In this case, we have 1, 2, 3. We could call this a double top as well. But the point being here is, where is this finding support? This is suggesting, and look at this rounding. Here's a low, starting to round out. You see how this is kind of curving? Low, low, low. This is the highs also starting to curve around. This is looking very much like the sentiment, the liquidity interest in the space, and how fast it moves in to these assets is starting to shift gears into where we're going to very likely, with all the data we're looking at, see a pretty good movement in the alts in the very near future. Now, this is January 2025, where we're at right now. Look at what happened last cycle and the cycle before that. It's right about the same time frame. So I think we've just been a little bit too impatient. Let me go ahead and scroll through some of these comments and stuff here. Has the total 3 broken all-time high yet? Well, let's look at it. That's a great question. Guys, ask some questions in here. We can definitely look up some stuff, and this is going to be a little bit more time with y'all's questions and thoughts today. I wasn't able to do a member stream this morning. So total 3. Has it broken all-time high? Well, let's go ahead and look at the 3-day. Double click. This orange line, yellow line is the all-time high. So let's go ahead and look at that. It looks like we barely tapped through it. Barely, wick, no candle closures. Tapped it again, and basically have formed this kind of sideways range that is starting to form a bit of a triangle here. But if we get down to the 4-hour, it'll look a little bit different. This is actually more of what I would see right in here. Boom. kind of look at that right there. We have a deviation below, but this comes right into this trend line. So this is the pattern I'd really be watching. We pushed up, but the problem with this is as exciting as this is, in the near term, there is some bullishness to pay attention to, which is this bearishness, I should say, which this is a rising wedge into this resistance zone. Now, it doesn't mean we can't break out above this, but it does suggest that when you get compressed into this like this with a rising pattern, it suggests a likely move to the downside will be the move out of this. And it doesn't mean it's downside down. It means that the breakout of this will more likely than not be the downside. We'll have to see how this plays out. The market's getting very exciting right now, but it wouldn't be out of question. And in fact, it would be very likely to move down something like this, come up, boom, something like that. Because rising wedges tend to break down, and then you can resolve. If this pushes up and rejects here, then we're coming much lower, probably somewhere about right in here. But if this pushes up, comes down, tests this low and this high, boom, boom, these two zones, then that would be the most bullish of this, because then you get a little reset before the launch. Now, if this pushes out, great. But if that were to happen, I'd be a little suspicious. I watch for a pullback and a fake out to the downside before the move, something like that. If that doesn't happen, it just breaks out and we get the move like that, that is possible as well. But the point is, regardless of what happens in the next week, I do think through the end of February, I think where the prices are going to be much higher, barring we don't get some catastrophic thing that shakes all markets, not just crypto. So things are looking good in the market. You look at the others chart, same thing. Look at this, pushing up right into this resistance zone, right into it. And falling wedge here, boom. Now, this doesn't mean falling wedges tend to break bullish. It doesn't mean we have to do it here. I mean, there's a lot more room that this could go, but looking at what's happening with the state of the market, there's more bullishness coming in than bearishness. Possible ETH Bitcoin bottom. Let's look. ETH, I got it right here, actually. ETH Bitcoin bottom. I'm going to go to the three. I'm going to go to the weekly real quick. Let me go ahead and clean some of this up, because this has been consolidating to the downside, breaking down really against Bitcoin since August of 2022. I mean, actually, you could say it's from here, because this is a high, this is a lower high. So this would be November 2021, and this has just been bleeding. I think the narrative is so fudded right now in Ethereum. Okay, Sui's faster. Okay, Solana's faster. Okay, you have AVAX. Okay, you have Nero. Okay. ETH is the foundation for the largest part of the crypto ecosystem, because so many different altcoins are built on the ERC20 rails. On top, they're basically layer 2s and other layer 3s. And there's such a massive ecosystem on ETH. We see how much Ethereum that, what's his name? Trump and World LibertyFi and not BlockFi, TruthFi. And, we're having ETFs, the Bitcoin ETH ETF from Bitwise. We also have one, I think, from Franklin Templeton. I think the narrative on ETH is going to heat up very, very soon. I think the narrative with all the FUD is just kind of what you see before the big moves to the upside. BTC 120 by end of February, says a creative owl. Shout out to that. Yeah, okay. What do you guys think? You guys think 120,000 by end of February? Give a 1 for 120 by end of February. Give a 2 if you think that's asinine. I think we could do 120. I think once we start to get moving, I think we'll have some trouble at 113. But 120, I think will be it's a pretty, I don't know why, it feels like a pretty seismic number once we break beyond that. Salute Kelly and the chat. Shout out to Ken, Sufficient Enough, Green Day, Theo Rodriguez, Crypto 2, I guess. Colin Thomas. We got everybody in here. Big love to everybody. We got, I got 700 or 800 people watching between YouTube and Twitter. But we do see on ETH Bitcoin, the money flow is still flowing out. Still looking, it's not ready in this moment. But what I'd be watching for on the ETH the Bitcoin chart is just breaking back above this line right here. Finding a little bit of support, breaking back in this channel. But this whole zone, this is going to be the very key zone, because we have this descending level of multi-year resistance. At the same time, we have this horizontal, this low right here. This is going to be the zone. Now, what does that say when we're corresponding it, when we're looking at the Ethereum to dollar price? Remember, macro, beautiful setup. We have a rising level of support, flat level of resistance. It's an ascending triangle. In addition to that, which is a bullish pattern. In addition to that, we have an inverted head and shoulders. And at the right shoulder is formed currently, it's kind of like what we're seeing right here. Boom, right? That channel, and then just pop. Once it popped, are we going to see that pop right here? Maybe. It might just work its way up here. Excuse me. with the candles, you know? But this pattern, this shoulder, head, shoulder, we already saw the target on that. We got positive money flow. The VWAP's rounding about. Stochastics are kind of come down. We're on the weekly there, though. So what does it look like on the 4-hour? Broke out of the zone. Hasn't quite done everything we need yet, but it's an ingredient that we'd like to see. We broke out of the resistance, but we have not cleared all of this price action right in here. Let's be aware of that. Okay, so what we need to really do, we're watching this, really clearing 3,500. The next level up, we're watching 3,740. I'm just looking at the highs here. And look, it has all this chop back here as well. And then the next level up, which is going to be a very big thing, I think, for the broader altcoin ecosystem, is once we actually, basically work our way up here. Okay, fail. Oh, reset. Oh, push our way up here. Fail. Okay, push our way up here. There's going to be noise here. Whether we reject at 4,000, come back down, do some stuff, then launch, or we push up into this and we launch right through and we look for where the bulls come back and defend to really talk about what's going on with how strong the bullish narrative is. You say you want to look at poll, says Gilberto Elizondo. Let's look at poll. Okay, poll. No narrative on poll right now. Nobody's paying attention to it. It's actually, does it show if I look at Matic? Does it show all the way up to current date? I think it does. Yeah, it does. Okay. So I'm going to look at the Matic chart because it gives us a bit more history. And these all, look at this. Just cha. It broke down. Sorry, I have no space on my desk for my mouse. It broke down almost to the conservative, almost to the conservative target we had right in here. And look at this, boom, came up, rejected. If we can maintain a higher low, that would be a first step because this is looking quite bearish. We do see the money flow starting to round a little bit, but if we can hold this, we have a higher low. First step. Now, we did get a little bit, we did kind of break a high there, but I'm not really counting that. I'm more concerned with what's happening with the lows here because we came and got rejected right at this trend line. We had a little deviation above it, trap, came right back down. If we can hold above, really this zone right here, currently we're high low. If this pushes up, boom, 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 then I think it can catch, the liquidity wind like everything else. But I do feel like the majority of the space right now, and I could be wrong, this might be the same story as we were just talking about with Ethereum. Maybe it's just fudded to death and it actually will absolutely explode. But it doesn't feel like there's a huge narrative focus on this because there's so many other projects out there. It's a very crowded space now. So you kind of really have to think through what you're putting money into and why. Another one too, DOT. I think Dot's going to have a great cycle as well. The problem I have with DOT now is that you got things like Chainlink, which I think Chainlink is going to do so well. I think it's one of the most undervalued, as high as it is. I think it's one of the most undervalued coins because of how much utility it has. Now with DOT, it's now contending also with Chainlink and Atom, and there's a number of others. But Chainlink also had something that they launched recently where you can launch any coin that's immediately interoperable. So it's like, okay, well, they spent all these years developing this, so it's going to kind of depend on the ecosystem. Now, on the flip side of that, you have a pretty big ecosystem on DOT. And I'm not fudding DOT. I'm talking through the considerations. With DOT, you have a pretty big parachain ecosystem. You have things like BitTensor and other things that have built within that ecosystem. So, and there's a huge number of it's not just BitTensors, but a lot of powerhouse sort of projects that are in the DOT ecosystem. So I wouldn't sleep on DOT. Those are just some questions I have. Nice sideways price action here, right between the 0 and the 382. Came right back down. If we measure this, option F, top to bottom, look at that. Came right down to the golden pocket, 786. We'd like to see this push back up, clear both of these trend lines. What are these trend lines? It's a resistance trend line from here to here to here, right? Where we found support. And then from here to here to here, where we kind of trapped. We're kind of trapped in this zone right here. We want to push above this golden pocket. We want to clear this zone right here, 745 to 776. 780. Basically clearing this high right here. So this has some work to do. And then beyond that, we still need to clear up, and we have not yet had the ability to clear $11. So really clear it. I don't mean we went to 1131, Kelly. I mean really clear it. Getting up here into the 16s, which is the golden pocket, and then up here into the 20, so on and so forth. So this does look like it's sort of found a good accumulation if we can establish, even if we drop lower here, like we really want to establish a higher low. But most importantly, as this starts to move up, whether it's from here or from lower, these two trend lines and this whole zone right here is very important. SEI, let's look at SEI. SEI. See. All right, option T, got a trend line, boom, right there. Look at that. Established, boom, right here. Find support again. We got a bit, it kind of looks like what we saw in Matic. But way before early in the cycle, but cycles. Found support here. I mean, this is a pretty big move. So even moving from there, oops, that's not what I wanted. Option F, measure there to there. Okay, look at that. That's a key point. Golden pocket. Where? Right here, where if this were to bounce up, one, we'd need to contend with this 39.40 range. The next level is the 46 range, which is the 382 and this high and all this chop and this support and all this support. See, I mean, look at this. Option H. Look at it. Look at how much interaction is at this 382. Rejection, support, chop right around it. Look at this, even chop right in there. Support. And that's when you draw on a fib and you see a lot of price interaction support at that level, it's a strong fib. The next level up is very important because it'll likely be in this area. If this just kind of worked its way up, the golden pocket on this move from here to bottom, top to bottom, golden pocket is right in line with where this descending level of resistance is. This is a key zone, 58.60 cents. And then once you clear 60 cents, option J, you can see it on the right hands here. Just a little bit. Yeah, about 58 cents. And then the next level up is going to be right here. Option J, 74 cents. And then the next target above that is right about the previous all-time high, which is a 1.618. And you see, I mean, look at this. These are the levels I'll be watching on the way up. Now, if this is lost, if this breaks down and goes lower, I'd be watching more so of a trap than a full breakdown. I'd be stacking if this came back down into this level and below down here to 24 cents. But I do think I had a couple more things in here I wanted to show you. So let me get back over to that. Yeah, we talked about the ETH breakout. We also had bullish divergence there. And then, of course, beyond that, yeah, I talked about that as well. So all good there. But what are we seeing with the traditional finance people in Bitcoin and crypto that are adding pressures on this market? Let's see. We got about 725 in the room right now. Let me just switch. Got too many screens open. Okay. All right. What was I about to look at? The ETFs, that's right. So we're starting to see some pretty big tick ups again here coming into the end of the month. That's good. We can see this came back positive. This is showing you positive inflows in ETFs, sell-offs of ETFs. I expect as this year progresses, we're going to start seeing higher highs and be breaking out of these zones and really see some crazy flows. In this. But then we talked about the capital flow as well. Actually, let's look at the Dixie because this is going to be a good indication, especially with what's going on with all the tariff talk. Here's a Dixie. Has been pulling back, but let's look at it actually on the chart. DXY, USD. That's not what I want to see. Not crypto. All. There we go. Man, we hadn't looked at this chart on TradingView in a long time, but look at that. We had this drawn out from, we had this drawn out from many months ago. And look at that. Rising channels tend to break bearish. And look at this. W pattern comes back in. Look at this. Has a hesitation. If you guys don't believe in TA at some level, I mean, we drew this way when price was way over here. Price action came back up. Boom. Look at where it had trouble. Right at this projected line. Comes up right into this next level of resistance. And it's starting to look weak. It's starting to round out. Let's see. Yeah, it's looking, I'd really like this to break down because that'll just give us more fuel for the liquidity file that we want for the bulls. So we kind of have this neckline of this very ugly pattern. It's kind of a head and shoulders, kind of not. It's just ugly as it can be because you have a shoulder there, kind of a head, it's just not really head and shoulders. Very similar structure though, kind of indicates a similar thing. Well, we got the breakdown, we got the retest, got the breakdown from there. We're coming back to retest again. So is this indicating that we are likely to break down or not? Well, we still have positive money flow. Stochastics angled up. There's so much weird economic stuff going on with all the different changes in tariffs and the FOMC and that this could be fairly unpredictable. If I was looking at this just as a chart is, this is telling me we have the move up, reset, the move up, a top forming into a resistance level, and a breakdown in here. Now, why do we care to look at the dollar chart? Because if this is breaking down, Bitcoin is very likely moving up. And we've talked about it before. Let's go ahead and just show it here. BTC. There we go. I don't know if we're going to be able to get it on the right percentage basis. Let's go to the weekly. You know what? Screw that. We can just look at it right here. Dollar down. What do you see? Price up. Dollar down. What do you see? Price up. Now, it doesn't mean price can't go up while dollar's going up, because we saw this right here after this halving, right? We also saw it right here when we just had a lot of movement to the upside and price was going up. So if we had the bullishness coming in with Bitcoin moving as high as it has, you know, $40 to $50,000 up since November, right? Then if you see the dollar also then starting to come down while you have the bullishness, and in addition to that, then you see the USDT.D dominance looking at, this is it with Bitcoin. Okay, let me, there we go. There we go. What is happening right now? Delete. There we go. I want to open a BTC.USD chart. Now add this, add USDT.D. It's like you have to be a freaking math wizard to figure all this shit out. All right. What do we see in the correlations? The USDT dominance. When this is going down, price is going up. Look, price was going down on Bitcoin. What happened? DT dominance was going up. And then boom, massive spike here at the same time we had the dominance drop. And this is looking so weak right here. This is looking so weak at those two lows that we just saw. This point right here, this point, this is looking like it wants to take that next leg down. We're seeing the signs, we're seeing the setups, we're feeling, this market is feeling like it. I mean, it's so bullish. I wouldn't be shocked if we got a pretty big washout before a move on these coins. You know, even Bitcoin, which is so bullish. But I am leaning expressively more bullish in this market right now. We also see, I mean, we've gone through it. I mean, we can go through a lot more, but it's just right now we're just beating the drum of all the same things. We're waiting on the market to see that liquidity spike. And a big part of that's going to be when Ethereum catches that bid. But I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Are all three last cycle coins no longer? No, we, you know, quite a few of them. The market moves around with where liquidity interest lies. Ethereum's still up there. XRP's still up there. XRP's been up there even in the face of all this issue for the last 3 years with all SEC stuff. So, and now it's, you know, really dominating up there. But there's been a lot of switching. There's been you could go back in history and look at the time shots of what the top 10s were over the last different years. And you'll see nothing's guaranteed. Luna was like in the top 5 or something like that. And it died overnight. But yeah, guys, I love you guys. I appreciate you. I'm going to get you set up to head over to where? I don't even know where it's at. Head over to Blockchain Basement. There we go. Big love to each and every one of you. I really do appreciate you guys. Really do love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I've been working my little tail off. We got some really big things coming for everybody in the BitLab. A massive integration that we're doing that's going to make it so much better. On that note, I'm going to say this. We have some I'm talking badass stuff coming that is a major integration that brings everything that I've wanted to do into BitLab that I've ever wanted. And it's going to be a higher price point, but there's so much going on. However, for those of you that get in and get involved, sign up now before that integration happens, which is only in the matter. We're going to be announcing it soon. It's going to be like within 2 weeks. If you get involved now, you're going to basically be able to keep you'll have basically a significantly reduced price. I think we might even do it for the same price that we're doing BitLab for those that are signed up for this before that integration. So take advantage of that while you can. lab.bitlabacademy.com/deal. Get involved there. It's 15 days free for the Discord. If you want the 120 lessons, we also have the BitLab indicators and all that in there. On the second page, you can upgrade to. Those aren't 15 days free, but it's like 30 or 40% reduced price. In fact, I would actually recommend not even getting that because we're changing some stuff. Sign up for the BitLab Discord. Get involved. Lock in the lower price for the major integration we're having. You guys are gonna love it. But I love you guys. I appreciate you. Let's head over to Blockchain Basement. Adios, everybody.